Hi everybody, this is a green, black, and red Arcane Bombardment deck that lets us reuse all of our powerful instants and sorceries from the earlier turns of the game. Now, we've got a few new includes in here, just from the way the metagame is shaking out, and we're including a couple of new cards from Phyrexia as well. So let's go over the card choices a little bit. We're starting off, of course, with 4 Arcane Bombardment, 4 copies of Invoke Despair. If we're in black at all, this is one of the best things we can be doing when we want to repeatedly cast our spells. Next up, we've got 3 Unleash the Inferno. There are a lot of artifacts and enchantments running around standard right now, and so this is often a kind of twofer spell for us, where we take out a creature or planeswalker, and then take out an artifact or enchantment as well. We're running 2 copies of Big Score in here to go along with Sheoldred the Apocalypse. We're including 1 copy of Viral Spawning, just another way to create some creature tokens, finish off a game if we need to, and activate Bombardment, as it is a 3-mana green sorcery. We've also got a couple of copies of Brotherhood's End to help shore up the early game a little bit. That goes with 4 Fable of the Mirror Breaker to help us draw, discard, get a little early ramp on with that Goblin Shaman. And then we've got 1 copy of Soul Transfer as well. This can help us get back our own Sheoldred if we desperately need to gain some life, but it's really in here just because it's another way to exile something from our opponent's board. Now, looking at the low end, we've got a couple of copies of Reckoner Bankbuster to do some drawing, and as another permanent to help get in some extra damage and finish some games. We're running 3 Tear Asunder, which is probably the best reason to be in these colors. It can exile any non-land permanent, not just artifacts or enchantments, although, as already stated, we've got plenty of targets for this spell, even if we don't kick it. Running a mix of Cathartic Pyre and Abrade for some more artifact removal and for the option to filter out all the extra lands I always seem to end up drawing. We're running 2 copies of Sheoldred's Edict in here. Ran into a great target for this spell in the new Hexproof Kaya Planeswalker that we wouldn't have been able to hit otherwise if we didn't have this card in the deck. So this was a good include as well. We've also got 1 copy of Go for the Throat and Cut Down to round out the removal on the low end. So for the most part, the game plan is as usual. We're going to spend the early turns casting our spells, setting up some treasures if we can, and then going into Invoke Despair and Arcane Bombardment to start reusing everything that we've been playing before. So let's see some games with this deck on the ranked standard ladder right now. I'll be with you for some commentary, but as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Time to get into it here with some Jund-colored Arcane Bombardment. Lots of interaction for the early game, but let's start us off with a Proving Ground and set our mana up well for the rest of the game. Opponent with a Vat of Rebirth. Whenever another artifact or creature, oil tokens, etc., etc. Okay. So we got a little time to deal with that. Go ahead and pass. We could Abrade, but let's... Oh, we got a second Abrade. Anyway, let's Fable. Like I said, we got time. They're not putting oil counters on that thing just yet. They could be playing with more dangerous artifacts like... what's that one? Anvil? Geistflame Reservoir. Opponent goes ahead and surges our Shaman token, then follows up with Blood Tithe Harvester. Let's get rid of Go for the Throat. Single copy of Abrade. We can always get that back later with Bombardment. Start getting these Blackcleave Cliffs down now. So hopefully we can play Bombardment right on 6 mana. Ooh, Atraxa goes to the graveyard. Okay. I see that. Using the blood token to get the reanimator target in the grave. That is nice. Okay, so our Fable's going to flip over. Let's get Sheoldred down. Start attracting some attention there. Oni Cult Anvil. Okay. Oh, 2 Anvils. All right. All right. Well, we're going to need to start recurring Abrades sooner rather than later. We'll gain 2 from the trigger. Let's get Bombardment going right now. Opponent, I guess, thinking about Anvil here. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's safe to get in with Sheoldred. I don't think they can do any tricks with the Anvil to get any extra damage on her, so I think that's fine. Perfect. Sheoldred's triggered, does another 2. Such a deceptively fast threat, the way they designed that card. Ouch. Okay, Obnixilus sacrificing the Harvester, so they're going to get a second copy, starting off at 3 loyalty. Puts a counter rather on the vial, and they sacrifice one anvil to the other. Nets them a couple of tokens. They're going to make us discard something here, or take 2. Sure, I'm good with that for now. We will gain 2 back. Probably didn't have to discard that, but it's fine. We've got an Abrade in hand. Let's destroy an artifact. I think it's Anvil for starters, and then we'll work on the Vat in the future with some recursion, hopefully. Oh, and we pick up Abrade number 2 anyway. Beautiful. We would have had another shot at it on our opponent's turn anyway. Okay. Good game. All right. I think this is set up for success. We've only got 2 lands, but we do have a Bankbuster and a Fable. So if we can get to 3, we're golden. And if we're stuck at 2, we at least get a redraw with Bankbuster. Let's get Blackcleave Cliffs down. Bankbuster. 3rd land is here, so we are good to go. Smoldering Egg from the opponent. Haven't seen that one in a while. Would feel better if that was not sticking around, though. We'll hit that with Go for the Throat. We'll figure out what the rest of our opponent's deck is up to here. Mechanized Warfare. And we pick up Abrade. Land number 4 from us. I think now's the time for Fable. See if we can get our ramp on. Trade out some of our cards that might not be as useful. I'm looking at you, Brotherhood's End, right now. Elder Dragon War. This is an interesting deck, opponent. Cut down, no targets. Abrade might have a target. Let's get rid of Brotherhood's End. Think like that, yep. And we get Sheoldred and a nice land. Let's get down Sheoldred. We kind of have to wait until they have a creature on board to use Unleash the Inferno. So let's get in with the Bankbuster using Sheoldred to crew it up. Let's see what they play here. So Elder Dragon War is on the discard chapter. Looks like a Koth. So probably some sort of mid-rangey mono-red control type of strategy. The Monumental Facade makes me think they're playing Urabrask's Forge in there too. Shivan Devastator, a great card. Could see that working well in there. Alright, let's gain 2 back. Fable's going to flip over. I think we can structure this Inferno. Let's see. Yep. It's 7 total is what we got to worry about. So 4 damage to this creature. The remainder can hit an enchantment that costs 3. Yes, perfect. Okay, and that was enough. Good game. All right, back here again. Kind of an expensive hand, but we do have Fable to help us get there. Oh, yeah, let's give it a shot. We do have Unleash the Inferno again, enough to make our last opponent scoop. But I guess when you build your deck with so many enchantments, You're gonna get hit with the enchantment hate sometimes. It happens to all of us. You're gonna structure your deck in a certain way, and you run right into the counter for it. Opponent creating a lot of little creatures here. We're gonna have to get to this Brotherhood's end on our next turn and see if we can't sweep some of this away. Speaking of sweepers, I did throw in a Vampire's Vengeance into one of my decks recently on the kind suggestion of one of my commenters, and wouldn't you know it, the first deck I ran into, Rakdos Vampires. Nothing but vampires on the board. That card cannot hit vampires. So, anyway, still a good suggestion. Let's get Brotherhood's End in here. Leave our opponent with just a Fable. Fuseling has nothing left to put counters on. Opponent decides to not do anything with that second chapter of Fable. We're at 4 here. We could Fable of our own or go for big score. Tempted by Fable here. Let's do that. It gives us a little bit of a board presence. We can still do a little discard next turn if we want to. But either way, whether this thing lives or not, we're still set up for Invoke Despair. Or at least we were set up for Invoke Despair. Opponent with a Duress takes Despair. Sees the rest of what we're up to. And we'll pass it on back. Alright, do we discard? Think we can discard the Proving Ground rather than pay for that. Let's get in with the Shaman to push us to 5 mana. Highly doubt they block. Thinking about it. Alright, Goblin Shaman gets in for 2. Let's play out Takenuma. It doesn't have a whole lot of targets for us. It's more to pull up an emergency Sheoldred if we really need it, but let's get Bombardment down here while we have a good window. Oh, okay. Good to know I have that reputation. Good game. Invoke Despair and Cut Down. It's not great, but I think we can keep this. So we've got a lot of Proving Grounds. Let's start with 1, and depending on what we draw here, we can decide to keep the rest of these and cycle them away a little bit earlier and draw into what we need. Opponent with Seachrome Coast. So they're on blue and white. We'll need to figure out if that's soldiers or if this is control. Alright, well we have a Cathartic Pyre now too. We can always cycle away some more lands. Opponent with Ickermoon Gauntlet. So we're gonna go there, are we? Let's Cathartic Pyre. Get rid of both of these Proving Grounds. We do have the Wastes for green if we need it. We of course get the 4th Ziatora's Proving Ground. Let's go ahead and get that going now so that we're set up for Invoke Despair on our next turn. Opponent going to Teferi here. We'll see what they decide to do. Maybe do some untaps. Alright, we pick up Tear Asunder, which is great. Let's do Invoke Despair first, though. Get Teferi off the board, do a little card draw. The Gauntlet really is not great on its own. It really needs to come down when there's a whole family of Planeswalkers to work with. Questions. Do we make them have the answer for it now? I think we do. What are the odds that they've got a counterspell in hand or an answer for this enchantment? Void Rend. Alright, well, triggers the Gauntlet, but there's nothing to put counters on. Gonna get a Kaido down, and decides to just go for the loot here. We pick up a Fable. Just a tap land from us. Let's Fable. Get a little board presence going to pressure any future Planeswalkers. Tear Asunder on this Gauntlet. And then when Kaido phases back in, we'll have options to maybe attack. Oh, scratch that. Well, we'll have the option to Soul Transfer or Invoke Despair. But either way, Ichor Moon Gauntlet shenanigans are over. And we will hold on to this Blackcleave Cliffs. Maybe do a little discard and draw with some of our effects. Kaido just going to loot for our opponent. No interest in creating ninjas, apparently. Alternate art Wandering Emperor joins the scene. Makes a samurai token. Not worth cutting that down now. We're probably just going to get rid of this. Yeah, let's get rid of that and the land we've been holding. More land and another Fable. Invoke Despair. That will get rid of one of those Planeswalkers as we get Viral Spawning. Opponent having a good think. They will get rid of the Wanderer and keep Kaido, who's getting up there a little bit in loyalty. Yep, just keep on plussing Kaido. I wonder if they've got some way to use his emblem in their deck. Hopefully they don't pull out a, Hullbreaker Horror or something. We get another Cliffs as our Fable flips over. So let's Soul Transfer Kaido. Stop the drawing from happening. We've got enough mana left. We can either Fable or Big Score here. Opponent decides to Edict us. Alright, we will exile Kaido. Think let's Fable. Big Score is good, but we've got plenty of mana as they make disappear the Fable. Okay. Yeah, Big Score is good, but if we're going to do only one thing there, I think it's Fable. We cycle away Rafine's Tower, 2 cards left, and they've got 3 mana open. If we Invoke Despair here, I think that's our best option. Slides right through. We would have had 2 mana open to pay for any Make Disappear they might have had. Let's just play a tap land, get ready to invoke Arcane Bombardment, hopefully into Invoke Despair on a future turn. Alright, Arcane Bombardment. Let's activate right now and try to get Despair going. Ah, we hit it. Nice. Invoke Despair on our opponent. Empty board brings them to 4, and we'll create a little 3/3 beast token with some toxic. Almost a full hand here. Opponent gonna fare well. I see our opponent's a fan of long games. Okay. Let's get Bankbuster going then. Bankbuster number 2. If we can find a way to crew this next turn, we might be able to rush in there with a Bankbuster for the win. Opponent with a Celestus, that's going to be some life gain. But they're going to Deluge and go looking. So they'll pick up 2 cards from the top 4. Play Rafine's Tower. Alright, we need to go looking for something to get one of these Bankbusters going. We get a Boseiju and a Sheoldred's Edict. Well, let's use our leftover mana to draw. We might be able to create a pilot if we can get this low enough. I'm not sure that's going to happen. We pick up a land. Okay. What else can we do? We can Fable, but we need 3 power to crew something. Let's destroy the Celestus at least. So that'll keep them at 4 and keep them vulnerable to a Bankbuster finish. What do you got? Oh, okay. Oh, wait. Kaya. All right, Kaya Intangible Slayer. Kaya's good. Let's see what they do with it here. What can she do? They're going to exile our token. I guess in the hopes of keeping a blocker up versus gaining life. Well, we've got Sheoldred's Edict. That's why I was panicking at first, but I remember what this card actually does. So we can just have them exile the Planeswalker for us and not have to worry about targeting it with anything. We draw with Bankbuster. Oh, Sheoldred, that's good. Do we have removal? Yep, we got to go for the throat. Let's just pitch the Cliffs in case they've got some interaction. And Sheoldred. I think we've got the right mana to do this anyway. We can make a pilot, though. Gain a little bit of life. Go for the throat on our ill-gotten creature token that our opponent stole from us. Crew up Bankbuster. And get in for 4. Oh, and we got there. Through a farewell, we got there. Good game. All right, another semi-expensive hand here, but Sheoldred's Edict might be able to smooth it out a little bit, get us up to 4, where we can big score into the party that is the rest of our deck. And it's going to be one of these close games, I see. Prologue to Phyrexia going to start us off with a poison counter, draw our opponent a card. Fable would have been perfect here, but we'll take what we can get. Abrade might be useful if they've got any toxic creatures. Same with Sheoldred's Edict here. Yeah, let's go ahead and Abrade this. Slow the progression of poison counters. No freebies here. Sulfurous Springs. We can wait. I don't think they're going to be waiting to counter stuff at this point. They're going to want to get another... Okay, well, they're just going to go for the draw 2, give me a poison counter thing. Let's big score. Let's put Invoke Despair in the yard, since it looks like we're going to get Bombardment down pretty soon. And a free Invoke Despair is kind of what I'm looking for here. All right, land into Bombardment. Leaves us with a treasure, so we're going to have to wait around till our next turn to use it. We've got a Sheoldred's Edict and a Brotherhood's End for an activator. Oh, and they hit it with a Serum Snare. I forgot that Boomerang was once again making the rounds in Standard. So that's going to buy them a little time. Infectious Inquiry going to give us another poison counter and give them some more cards. All right, land number 6. Bombardment back again. Same scenario. Can't activate it just yet. Serum Snare again. But since it's so expensive, they don't get the free Proliferate off it, which is kind of keeping us alive at the moment. We are at 3 counters, so they do get the discount on the Curiosity. Draw a couple of cards there. Well, we've got Bombardment and 2 extra mana now, so let's see what they do before we decide if we want to activate and put something under Bombardment there. Only 1 Despair in our yard, and would love to reuse that. Okay, we get a counter from Prologue, and they draw another card. Voidwing Hybrid comes down. They're going to Experimental Augury, which comes with a free Proliferate. So that's going to take us to 5 poison counters. And they will get back another hybrid from the grave since they did that. Well, let's Sheoldred's Edict, make them sacrifice the current hybrid that's on the board. See what Bombardment picks up for us. Unfortunately, just an Abrade, probably the worst thing that was down there, but we're getting ever closer to the more useful things. Just a land. Let's play that land. And yeah, let's just activate with Brotherhood's End here. We'll put it on artifacts. Just trying to pull up Invoke Despair. But we get big score. Not the worst. Okay. I heard you like Invoke Despair. We got you some Invoke Despair to go with all of that. We pick up some more lands. Boseiju may not have many targets against this deck, but... Alright, opponent going to draw some more. We're sitting at 5 poison counters, but opponent got a full grip over there and could proliferate us up to 10 if they have the right cards. Infectious Inquiry again. That's going to take us up to 6. This version of poison that they're playing feels very combo-y here. They feel very safe to get to such a low life total. This Invoke Despair is going to be able to finish them off. Oh my goodness. Alright, I guess we're waiting on a discard here, but I'm assuming Force of Will is no longer standard legal. The odds that we pick up an Invoke Despair from the yard still 50%, so even if we didn't draw this, we might have gotten there. And we pick it up anyway. That's 12 damage to the opponent. Oh, wow. Good game.